Moonless silence draped the spires of Coruscant by the sea. Once proud King's Landing, like mourning cloth, and yet within those gilded walls the world still whispered. In a candlelit alcove far beneath the Red Keep, where damp stone exhaled the breath of a forgotten river, Lord Varys of Lys, master of whisperers, eunuch, spider, sat upon a battered stool. He did not move. He listened. The pulse of the castle throbbed through ancient bricks, each vibration a tale. A bored sentry stamping numb feet, a laundry maid sighing over a love she should not name, armored fingers tapping against steel as a knight measured his courage against the night. Varys inhaled, drawing those murmurs into himself as other men drew wine. They nourished him. They confirmed what the little birds had sung all afternoon. Grand Maester Pycelle snored in the rookery, warm beside brandy and parchment. Ser Boros Blunt wore brand new greaves yet carried no true allegiance. 3 scullions from Flea Bottom had accepted silver to leave a door unlatched. Threads in a tapestry, frayed yet sufficient. Still not enough to crown a king. He stroked the new scar behind his ear, a gift from the steel-shanked Sellsword who now dangled headless beneath Trader's Walk, and considered how many more threads he must gather before dawn. Irony tickled him. The man who despised the taste of power holding it in cupped palms, feeling its heat grow, daring himself not to flinch. Spiders shunned flame, yet he would dance upon it before cockcrow. Footsteps approached, not the clumsy scuffle of a kitchen boy nor the swagger of gold-gleaming plate. These steps were cautious, measured, a gossip's pace. Varys folded soft hands atop his stomach and waited. Qyburn emerged from shadow like rot surfacing beneath fresh paint, gray eyes glittering. "You asked for progress, my lord." Varys smiled. "And the torches upon the east stairwell have been extinguished. A guard will trip an hour from now. His fall shall rouse no one of consequence. Cressy, the chief jailer, swallowed your draft at supper. By midnight he'll sleep as though cradled in the stranger's arms. The bells are yours, not mine," Varys murmured, slipping from the stool with the grace of spilled silk. "The realms." He adjusted the violet brocade of his robe, cheap cloth that shone expensively beneath torch glow, a lie stitched from other lies. "And the boy, Prince Tommen, gods bless his innocence, drank a second cup of milk of the poppy in Maester Balabar's care. He will dream through thunder." "Good." Varys's fingers danced an absent-minded jig, the only outward sign of nerves. The silent sisters stand ready, 5 of them. Their veils hide daggers sharper than prayers. Varys inclined his head. "Then all that remains is her." Qyburn's grin was a butcher's cleaver. "Lady Marjorie tends her roses by moonlight. Truly she believes roses bloom brightest beneath Celene's tears." He shrugged. "A vial of tears of Lys will lend deeper color by morning." A flutter of pity brushed Varys's thoughts but found no roost. Lives spent against lives saved. He had weighed such sums since he first bled. "No blood upon her gown," he said. "The people must mourn a queen taken by maiden's fever, not fear the knife they cannot see." "As you command." Qyburn bowed, melted backward, left only the scent of dried herbs and something fouler. Varys closed his eyes. For kings had worn the Iron Throne since Robert's comet-bright rebellion. Each left the small folk poorer, the lords fatter, the stepstones slick with sun's blood. What good was a crown if it sat above deaf ears? He inhaled again. The castle whispered still. He heard opportunity. Above, in Maegor's holdfast, Ser Kevin Lannister paced a corridor bathed in pale lamplight. He read each flicker as a portent. Embers spoke to veterans as ravens spoke to maesters, and what they said tonight chilled him. "The flame is hungry." Paige scurried near. Kevin snapped, "Where is Ser Meryn?" "In the kitchens, sir." He craved honeyed ham. "Fetch him." The boy vanished quick as a roach. Kevin resumed pacing. When he'd fallen asleep to the sea's lull 2 hours past, the realm had seemed, if not at peace, then at least stable upon frail stilts. Now unease pressed upon him like a mailed fist. He could not name its source. Perhaps that was the worst of omens. A subtle hiss, steel sliding free. Kevin whirled, hand on hilt. Yet only silence greeted him, the torchlight trembling as though afraid. Deep beneath the tower of the hand, the bells slept. Varys glided along damp corridors, feet silent on slick stone. He carried nothing save a single iron key and an ivory game piece shaped like a spider. When he reached the door guarded by his 3 scullions, he found only 2. The third lay slumped against a wall, mouth agape, eyes wide with shock at the dagger buried beneath his ribs. Panic flickered, brief, bright, deadly. He smothered it. "Who came?" he asked the eldest boy, a lantern-jawed youth whose courage sprang from coin. "No one, M-Lord." He fell. "The dagger. I put it there after, so the tale would hold." Varys studied him, sadness pooling like tepid water. He cupped the boy's cheek. "Bravery is not born from lies, sweetling, but gratitude is. You've served the realm this night. Serve it no more." He pressed 3 silver stags into shaking hands. "Flee the city by dawn. Seek the quiet isle and wash the blood from your shadow." The boy fled, half sobbing. The second scullion lingered, eyes glassy. Varys granted him the same coins, the same freedom. Neither noticed the tremor in the eunuch's fingers as he withdrew the dagger from cooling flesh. A life for a throne. Within the vaulted chamber awaited the bells of kings. 6 immense bronze mouths suspended by chains thicker than a man's thigh. To ring them was to summon the realm to witness. To ring them now would herald a coronation none had foreseen. Varys touched the largest bell's lip, feeling centuries hum beneath callous skin. "Not yet," he whispered. "Not until the city wakes to a better dream." He turned key in lock. The mechanism groaned, then yielded. Outside, the bells would remain mute. Within, their silence would lend him wings. The hours crawled. Lanterns guttered in drafts. Ravens croaked warnings no one heeded. Varys paced secret tunnels carved by maddened Targaryen kings, reciting names. Each name a thread, each thread crossing another until a web unseen blanketed the Red Keep. A drunk guard here, a bribed scribe there, a courtesan who carried whispers upon powdered breasts. All must hold until first light. At the black cells Qyburn awaited beneath the skull of Balerion, the great dragon's hollow eye glinting. Beside him knelt a chained figure, slender, breathing shallow, hair matted with straw. Varys frowned. "You assured me she would remain unharmed." "She lives," Qyburn said. "Her harm is the realm's medicine. Release her. With respect, my lord. If you show her mercy now, she will undo all we have sown." Varys bent, meeting the prisoner's gaze. Lady Went, last mistress of Harrenhal, bore eyes like cracked amber. Madness rimmed them. She whispered, "Dragons burn." Spittle dripped. "Dragons burn." Varys sighed. To use such a woman as scapegoat pained him. Yet a silent coup required thunderous blame. The court would need a villain, a usurper to curse as they wept beneath new banners. Lady Went, descendant of traitorous lords, had offered herself unwittingly, ranting in taverns of vengeance and Valyrian fire. "Take her to the September," Varys said. "Bind her wounds, dress her in mourning gray. Come dawn she will confess, then die swiftly." Qyburn bowed. He departed with his burden. Varys lingered beneath Balerian's skull, listening to the weight of his own heartbeat. When was the last time he had allowed remorse inside that cage of ribs? He could not remember. Above the city walls, a wind off Blackwater Bay rustled penance. A hush blanketed the Street of Sisters. Southron stars gleamed like coins scattered across velvet. Somewhere in Flea Bottom, a babe cried, sharp and brief. The city otherwise slept. Perfect night for treachery. On the ramparts of the Gate of the Gods, Ser Arlen Ricker adjusted his sword belt. He felt the quiet too keenly. It pressed against his eardrums until they rang. He smashed a mailed fist against crenellated stone, seeking distraction. From below, a cloaked silhouette appeared, waving a parchment. A voice called, "Message from the hand." Ricker signaled down. The portcullis creaked upward. The runner passed within. 10 heartbeats later, torches dimmed. then died. Ricker reached for steel, but a slender blade already kissed the groove beneath his helm. "Peace," breathed an unseen assassin, voice neither male nor female. "Sleep," darkness claimed him. In the solar where the small council customarily gathered, a single candle sputtered beside a half-empty flagon of Arbor Red. Varys entered without sound. He found Lord Baelish Littlefinger, lounging upon a cushioned bench, legs crossed, smirk permanent. "I wondered when the spider would creep from his corner," Baelish purred. "Did you bring silk enough to bind me?" "I need only truth," Varys said. "If you possess any." Littlefinger poured himself a final goblet. "Truth is a coin I rarely spend, but tonight perhaps I might be generous. You plot to unseat Boy King and Lioness Queen alike. A noble venture." He raised the goblet. "The realm thanks you. You will remain quiet," Varys said. "If you speak, you die. Dead men make poor prophets. Living ones adapt." He sipped, sighing. "Tell me the throne is yours and I shall kneel. It belongs to the realm. Spare me." Littlefinger set the cup aside. He rose, elegant as a cat, though wine glazed his eyes. "You forget one lesson, dear eunuch. Power resides where men believe it resides. Tomorrow they will believe it remains with lions, with roses, with—" He never finished. A cotton cord slipped round his throat from behind, tightened. Littlefinger clawed feebly as his face darkened ripe plum. Varys watched without pleasure. Power also resided in silence. When the body stilled, he nodded to the veiled sister who had performed the deed. She withdrew into gloom. Varys closed Baelish's eyes. "No more games of thrones and ladders, Peter. The realm cannot afford your sport." The horizon paled. Rosy fingers touched the crenellations of Dragonstone Tower. Seabirds screamed, eager heralds of dawn. Varys stood upon a balcony overlooking the mud gate. The river beyond lay quiet as molten gold, fog curling above black water like dying breath. He drew a copper whistle from his sleeve and blew, too high-pitched for man to hear, yet rats stirred, birds shivered. Moments later, a column of gold cloaks emerged from alleyway shadows, bootfalls muffled beneath cloth. They bore no Lannister crimson, no Baratheon stag. Their cloaks had been dyed the soft gray of early mist. Varys whispered, "Begin." Chaos is a ladder, Littlefinger had claimed. Yet chaos could be a veil too, and under that veil Varys wove order. First bell of dawn. Lady Margaery Tyrell found dead in her solar, pale and lovely, a crimson droplet at her lip. Maester Balabar pronounced fever. Septinella wept beside the corpse, never noticing the silent sister who slipped away. Second bell. Ser Kevin Lannister, roused by alarm, hurried toward his nephew's chambers, and vanished upon the east stair when an unseen foot nudged him over the balustrade. His scream ended in a wet crunch far below. 3 servants discovered the body. 2 would never speak again. Third bell. Torches flared in Maegor's holdfast as Queen Cersei stormed toward the Tower of the Hand, flanked by twin kettle-black brothers. She found the council chamber door barred. When it opened finally, she beheld Peter Baelish sprawled upon the carpet, face purple, tongue protruding. "Your Grace," intoned a veiled sister. He took his own life, shamed by treason uncovered. In her shock, Cersei did not sense the gauntlet hand that dipped sleeping draught into her cup. Fourth bell. Tommen Baratheon, Boy King, slept still. His kittens mewed at a window. The catspaw reached them first. Fifth bell. Ser Meryn Trant, mouth dripping ham grease, stumbled into the courtyard to find Greyjoy Reavers. No Lannister men, no unknown soldiers, dragging Cersei unconscious toward the black cells. He charged. Arrows blossomed from his throat. Sixth bell. The bells of kings rang. A tide of bodies poured into the Red Keep's great courtyard, servants, guards, small folk who had braved the gates at the bell's call. They pressed together like grain beneath a millstone, murmurs swelling into fearful prayer. Upon the walk of punishment, for corpses hung already, Kevin, Margaery, Cersei, Littlefinger, all proclaimed traitors to the crown. Upon a raised dais draped in cloth of silver, Varus stepped forward. He wore no crown, no sword. His voice, amplified by hush, spread like cool rain. People of Coruscant by the sea, hear the tale this dawn brings. Treason has been plucked from your midst. Those who sought to bleed you, lion, rose, mockingbird, have been shorn of thorn and fong. The boy upon whom they preyed, his grace Tommen, lies safe, tended by goodwives who know naught of schemes. Yet a child cannot rule alone. The realm cries for peace, for reason, for mercy. He paused. The hush thickened. I have no sons, no banners. My name bears no sword's edge. Yet I have listened all my life to your weeping. Let me listen still, from the seat where swords converge. Gasps rose. A washerwoman shouted, "A eunuch upon the Iron Throne?" Shock rippled. Yet shock did not kill. Varus bowed his bald head. A eunuch, one who cannot spawn tyrants nor claim dragon's fire. One whose only family is the realm itself. Judge me harshly, but judge me yourselves, not through Lord's lies. Silence. Then an old man raised arthritic hands. What of the faith? He croaked. A procession of silent sisters emerged, bearing Lady Went. She confessed in fever-edged shrieks to poisoning Marjorie, to plotting with Baelish to murder the king, to conspiring beside Cersei to bed traitors' seed upon the throne. Her madness painted the conspiracy vivid. Her execution, in plain sight, quenched the mob's thirst for justice. When her head fell, the crowd recoiled, then settled like storms departing sea. They listened once more. They weighed a world where children did not starve for king's follies. They saw no lions, no stags, no dragons. Only a plump, hairless man who wept as hot blood stained flagstones. A baker's wife called, "Let him rule if he listens." A cell's word grunted assent. Chorus grew. Varus lifted eyes brimming with tears not wholly feigned. Above, the Iron Throne gleamed through open doors, swords catching sun's first blaze. He sat upon it at dusk. The throne bit flesh. Barbs tore silk, scored soft skin. Blood seeped, warm as truth. Varus endured. Within him the whispers stilled, replaced by a thunder he had never known. The beat of hearts beyond his own, countless, unified. Terror's twin, hope. He gazed toward the city. Smoke curled from chimneys. Bells tolled the 9th hour. Children chased hoops in cobbled lanes. Small mercies. He would grant more. Footsteps echoed. Qyburn appeared, kneeling. Your grace, the raven to Old Town flies. They will seek your lineage. I have none. Then they will seek your right. The people grant it. That is enough. Qyburn's brows rose, doubtful. Even people forget. Better to remind them. Varus regarded the Maester fallen. You crave titles. Take Grand Maester's chain if you wish. But remember, secrets serve the realm now, not you. Qyburn smiled thinly. As you command, your grace. Night returned. Varus remained upon twisted steel, hands bleeding freely. Servants begged him rise. He refused. He must feel the throne's bite, lest he forget. Far below, Flea Bottom sang. Alehouses roared with tales of a spider king who spun peace instead of war. Mothers hushed babes with lullabies of silver robes and gentle hands. Fishmongers hailed dawn markets without dread. In Wildfire's absence, stars shone clear. Yet in the blackness between rooftops, other whispers stirred. Men who profited from chaos, women whose wounds would never close, lords whose sigils bled ambition. Power never slept. Varus listened. He would always listen. And somewhere, in the quiet corridors of memory, the boy he once was cut, discarded, despised, curled within the warmth of a realm that might, at last, belong to him. Moonlight silvered the throne room. A draft carried salt from the bay, rust from old chains, hope from distant hearths. Varus closed weary eyes. Around him swords dreamed of war. He vowed to keep them dreaming. Dawn would come soon. With it, hungry ravens, skeptical maesters, outraged lords. He would greet them bleeding, unbowed, unarmed save for truth. Outside, The bells prepared to sing again. Dawn bled across the dagger tips of the Iron Throne, turning the steel a ghostly rose as Lord Varys, now king in every voice that mattered, dragged himself from the blades. The throne's final insult clung to his robe in threads of spider silk and red, yet he smiled at the pain. It steadied him against the tremors of triumph. A pitcher of boiled wine waited on the marble step below, steam curling like a question. He ignored it. Pain was clearer than drink. Boot-soft footfalls reached him first, then the mellow rasp of Qyburn's voice. "Your Grace," the once-maester murmured. "A council assembles at your leave. The lords grow restless. Ravens from Highgarden, Storm's End, Sunspear, the Vale, all seek the same answer," Varys finished, smoothing his robe though the fabric would never lie flat again. "Who bleeds next, and why it shall not be them." He turned, surveying empty aisles where courtiers would soon shuffle. "Give them no empty answers. Give them sleeves of silk to hide their daggers. Tell them I will sit with them at dusk. Before then, the city must speak." Qyburn's gaze flickered to the weeping wounds across the eunuch's shoulders. "Might your grace allow leeches? Infection. Later." Varys descended, each step a whisper. "Have the Silent Sisters lay Lady Margaery in the September of sunrays. Let the small folk walk beside her bier. Let them see roses cut too soon and ask themselves what gardener stands ready to prune more." He paused at the threshold where faint coal dust hung. "And Tommen, dreaming still, the draft lingers. Wake him, a gentle hand, a gentle story. His mother has fled east to seek cure for the queen's madness. Let his first tears be for the realm, not himself." Without waiting, Varys drifted away. He crossed vaulted corridors where gilt-reflecting pools once shimmered beneath chandeliers. Now only guttering rushlights remained, yet the water still mirrored his passing. He saw a stranger. Plump monkish figure draped in wine-stained violet, scalp gleaming, eyes rimmed with exhaustion and victory. The stranger bowed to him with faint reproach. "Power weighs heavier than envy," the look warned. "Remember, he left the keep through Maegor's hidden postern and stepped into mourning." Fog still veiled the mud gate. Fishmongers called half-hearted prices, unsure whether coins still spent the same beneath a spider's crown. In the blue bard in a fiddler struck tentative chords. No one danced. Varys drew a plain gray cloak about his shoulders, adjusted a burlap satchel filled with copper pennies, and became again Ruggin the jailer, the pot-bellied foreigner, the nothing. He moved among them as dawn matured. He listened. Terror remained, of course it did, but it had been tempered overnight with a new alloy: curiosity. Small folk debated in whispers whether the Spider King would tax less than his lion predecessors, whether bread might fall cheaper because he lacked sons to fatten. Some laughed as if the notion itself were treason. A king who might care. Others spat that no cock meant no courage, that the stranger had placed an abomination upon the throne. A cobbler declared salvation. A hedge knight muttered doom. Varys drank each note, building a chord within. Near Cobbler's Square, a barefoot girl hawked onions. He bought 3, overpaid, and asked how she fared. Her answer was simple: "No soldiers came to drag my brothers this morn." She shrugged. "That's worth an onion." He knelt to her height, pressing the rest of his pennies into her grime-streaked palm. "For your brothers," he whispered, as she grinned, gap-toothed, pure. He felt the throne's bite again inside his chest. A bell tolled for Lady Margaery. The sound rolled down streets like distant thunder, gathering people as rivulets gather rain. Varys joined the flow. At the great September, marble steps overflowed with thousands. White roses adorned archways. Silent sisters bore the wood and weir bier, petals drifting in their wake. Some mourners sobbed with honest grief for a kind queen. Others wept because grieving was safer than questioning. Varys watched from the edge. When the Westerland's steward read a proclamation that Lady Went had poisoned her grace upon Baelish's urging, half the crowd gasped. The other half nodded as if confirming rumor. Truth had no purchase in such atmosphere. Only narrative reigned. Inside the sept, Candles glittered in vaulted gloom, their scent of honey masking the stench of sweat and old fear. The High Septon, robed in 7-colored crystal cloth, clutched his censer as though salvation were a blade. Varus approached. The man's fleshy jowls quivered. Your grace, he stammered, bow pressed to alabaster tiles. Rise. Varus offered a small smile. The 7 have lost a rose in their garden. The realm shall plant new seeds, but the faith must water them. The Septon's eyes flicked toward gold icons, then downward. The faith militant is released from vow of silence. I will restore their swords, if they swear first to shield the innocent, not throne or purse. Tell them the spider weaves no web around the faith, but between it and greed. The Septon swallowed. The Tarleys hold half the militant. The Florents some. Lords will balk. Then they may kneel. He laid a blood-spotted parchment on the altar. Royal decree awaiting signature. At dusk you shall place your seal beside mine. Unless you object, I will pray on it. Pray swiftly, Varus whispered, then turned before the man's sweat could stain the air. Outside, sunlight burned the fog away. Far upriver sails dotted the black water. Grain ships from Maidenpool, wine cogs from the arbor, a slender war galley bearing crimson kraken that tightened his stomach. Euron Greyjoy prowled again, it seemed. Reports of his disappearance had proved hopeful lies. Varus filed the information like a dagger behind his ear. At noon he returned to the keep, shrugging off cloak and persona outside the Trader's Walk. Crows already circled Kevin Lannister's corpse. The stench swelled. He commanded 2 stewards to lower and burn the bodies before dusk. Public vengeance enough had been tasted. He entered the Tower of the Hand where, beneath regal tapestry of Aegon's conquest, a score of lords stirred like caged hounds. Bronze Yohn Royce, paunch heavy in polished bronze plate, jabbed a finger at Randall Tarley, whose oaken breastplate bore fresh splintering. Mace Tyrell's jaws worked as though chewing invisible food. Mathis Rowan kept counsel behind hooded eyes. Lord Grafton of Gulltown whispered to slim burly John Linderly. The Vale cluster eyed the Reach cluster, who eyed the Crownlands wolves that eyed no one but Qyburn, who presided, smiling as if harvest feast were in progress. Varys swept in. Conversation crashed to hush. He did not sit at the table's head. He remained standing, palms folded. My lords, you were not summoned. You arrived like ravens upon carrion. Still, I welcome you. How fares the realm? Mace Tyrell's cheeks flushed. My daughter lies cold, he thundered. You call that faring? My condolences, Varys replied. Her murderer swung dawn light. He gestured to vacant chair carved with roses. Lady Marjorie's seat remains. Shall we leave it empty, or plant another bloom? His gaze slid to Mace's nephew, Lord Willis, waiting in wheelchair by the door. I propose Lord Willis for hand. Mace sputtered, rage checked by shock. Willis himself blinked. Randall Tarley snorted. A crippled gardener as hand? The Stormlands will not kneel to a boy who cannot ride. Better a mind that rides than a sword that thinks, Varys answered. But we discuss tonight. First, order of state. He nodded to Qyburn. Scrolls unfurled. Reed pens scratched. Varys let Qyburn drone of grain reserves. Unrest along Dornish marches. Greyjoy raiders. The Lord's eyes drifted to parchment enumerating taxes, halved on bread, doubled on silk. They grumbled, yet curiosity glinted. Halved on bread would calm peasant riots nibbling at their own harvests. Doubled on silk harmed only their purses. When Qyburn reached the faith militant clause, Yohn Royce spoke. Our knights uphold the 7. Militant swords answer to lords, not septons. Then our knights may join them, Varys said. He lifted a small wooden box. Inside lay 7 star-shaped brooches wrought of dusk-black iron. I call them the Order of Silent Wings. Each vows to shield any child from harm, even from their own bloodlord. I name Ser Rabar Royce to lead them. Royce's jaw dropped. The room erupted. Tyrell outrage, Tarley scoff, Grafton laughter. Varys let their din peak, then tapped the box lid twice. Choose scorn or service. The realm will see which you prefer. Silence shivered. Tarly crossed thick arms. Royce bowed stiffly. Tyrell ground teeth. The session wended through afternoon. Varys listened more than spoke, cataloging alliances forming against him. When he dismissed them at last, dusk orange streaked the windows. Lords filed out, some masks patient, others carved a fury. Only Randall Tarly remained, looming like an ironwood tree. You play the pious spider, eunuch. His voice carried swords. But I see blood in your web. Sing me the tune you'll teach my sons. Varys studied him. Your sons already know their verses. Dickon rides with Tarly honor. Samwell reads with Tarly heart. I ask only that you choose which heritage survives. Is that threat or promise? A mirror. The realm has shattered on steel too long. He let fatigue slip into his expression. Help me mend it, Lord Tarly, or sharpen it further and hope the shards spare your line. Tarly's nostrils flared. For a beat Varys believed the Lord might strike him. Then the Sword Lord turned on heel. Mend it then, he muttered. If words suffice where steel fails. He left. Qyburn re-entered, eyes alight. A beginning. A tremor, Varys corrected. Earthquakes start small. He allowed Qyburn to stitch and salve the throne's cuts. As the maester worked, ravens arrived. Stannis Baratheon had marched from Dragonstone with 5,000 men, banners unsheathed. Euron Greyjoy had seized Sisterton, murdering the Gulltown envoy. Dorne's Prince Quentyn requested audience. Summer hallfires crackled to portents of winter. That night Varys ate alone, vegetables stewed plain, a cup of watered wine. He tried to taste but found his tongue dulled. Suspicion seasoned every bite. He slept 1 hour before nightmares roused him. The black wizard who bought his childhood screaming, the alley blades severing pride, the iron throne sprouting black wings to impale each small child in King's Landing. He rose, sweating. He donned silent slippers and walked secret tunnels until he emerged in a dim garret overlooking Flea Bottom. From there he watched lamplight flicker across rooftops as though the city exhaled stars. Somewhere a woman sang lullaby to babe. Somewhere a man beat wife for spilled ale. Somewhere a wolf disguised as crow sharpened talons. Each belonged to him now. Cockcrow Tommen awoke. Varys greeted the kinglet with honeyed porridge and 2 new kittens. The boy smiled shyly. Mother? He asked. On pilgrimage, Varys told him. For your glory. She'll pray to bring you sweets. He kissed the boy's brow. The lie tasted sour. Later, Willis Tyrell wheeled into Solar of tattered maps. Varys met him with softer gaze. You understand the burden I offer. I understand you need an honest gardener in a bed of vipers, Willis replied, and that my roses will bleed less here than on the Reach's fields. His hands, twisted by horses' fall, trembled upon wheels. But if I serve, I demand. Never again shall the crown starve the city while feasts sprawl in castles. Done, Varys said. We begin with sellers of the faith. Let bread replace relic gold. Willis's laugh cracked dusty air. You make enemies quicker than roses bloom. He extended a crippled hand. Varys clasped it. When word reached Mace Tyrell that his heir had joined the eunuch's cause, the fatty lord bellowed into cushions. Yet he sent no protest. The game board shifted. The day unfurled with banners of dread. Stannis' fleet scraped ashore at Duskendale. Scouts claimed his men chanted of righteous flame, crowns forged by gods. Varys convened his new council, Willis, Royce, Tarly, who surprised himself by sitting, Qyburn, and meek Lord Valerion to speak for navies. They argued whether to parley. Varys listened, then wrote a letter in green ink. Lord Stannis, king or claimant you style yourself just. If just you be, come to King's Landing unarmored, escorted by 7 knights of your choosing, and debate justice beside the throne. I shall sit alone, my only armor truth. Prove me false and the city is yours. Prove me true and you will sheath your sword against it. Varys, protector of the realm. He sealed it with wax shaped like a spider. Tarly called it madness. Willis called it faith in words. Qyburn called it an experiment most interesting. Ravens flew. At sunset, Varys walked the ramparts. The city below pulsated. Bread carts rolled free of levy. Children licked honey as if it were sunrise on their tongues. Yet riots simmered in alehouses where proud men cursed a cockless king. He felt them as tremors beneath cobblestones. Peace required more than bread. It required dignity. An arrow hissed, kissed his sleeve, severed purple thread. Archers shouted. Cloaked assassin fled across rooftops like a shadow fleeing dawn. Varys watched him vanish into dark. Fear licked his spine, but excitement too. They tested his web. It held. He convened the Order of Silent Wings that night. 40 knights, sigils dimmed by soot-black cloaks, knelt in torchlight. Rabar Royce clutched a 7-pointed star of iron to his breast. Varys spoke not of glory but of children sold to brutes, of girls flogged for stealing roots, of boys pressed into war for songs they never heard. He charged them to roam as faceless guardians, answering only to conscience and crown. His voice cracked on last words. Rabar lifted sword, swore before 7, and before no gods at all, for within his oath lived something older, simple decency. In Storm's End, Raven replies arrived. Lady Brienne of Tarth pledged her sword to protect Tommen. Varys smiled. A lion cub watched by Sapphire Night. He summoned her through secret channel. In Bravos, bankers weighed Spider's gold marks minted overnight. Their envoy wrote curious invitation to negotiate Crown's debt. Varys sent Willis with ledgers and sincerity. The Reachman's smile charmed even shriveled coin counters. In Dorne, Prince Quentyn crossed Sandship sands with dromedaries bearing oranges and a letter. We do not kneel to lions or spiders, yet we honor peace that lets children grow. He proposed trade, Dornish water rights for crown routes. Varys drafted accord. Euron Greyjoy answered only with severed tongues tied to gull feathers. Varys felt cold wind off distant foam and tasked Grafton to muster Gulltown fleet, promising coin purse straining at seams. The Lord of the Vale hesitated until Yohn Royce declared the Vale would sail. Mountains produce as many stones as suns. Royce would not see them drowned by Kraken. Weeks bled. The realm, ragged, stitched itself with uncertain thread. Bread truly fell cheaper. Silent Wings rescued a boy from a guild master's lash. Rumors spread like wildfire doused with oil, yet each boon birthed backlash. Silk merchants spat curses. Lords complained of lost tariffs. Faith acolytes questioned why a eunuch dared reorder holy coffers. One humid night, Varys sat alone in Grand Maegor Library amid dust and rot. He unrolled parchment drawn by his own hand. Network of names. Lords, knights, merchants, thieves. Ink lines connecting allegiances like strands. In the center he wrote one word. Legacy? He stared until the question blurred. Memory stole him then. The night a traveling sorcerer severed his manhood as sacrifice to a demon that never even glanced at him, leaving boy Varys screaming in alley muck. He remembered crawling through gutters, promising to be more than victim or beggar. Now he held crown forged of swords, yet crown itself could cut him hollow as that demon did. What then remained? He rose and padded barefoot to terrace where summer storm gathered. Thunder's base shook stone. Rain pelted, washing bloodstains from rail. He tilted head, let rain carve rivulets down cheeks. Beneath water's roar he whispered, I will not fail you. He wasn't sure to whom he spoke. The city, the realm, the child he once was. Lightning split sky, illuminating a figure across terrace. Qyburn, hair plastered, eyes bright. Storms suit you, your grace. Storms reveal loopholes, Varys replied. Qyburn approached. Stannis sails upriver. He brings no host, only 7 knights as bid. Bold, a smile as sharp as bone. What game now? Truth, Varys said, or the closest lie I can stomach. The next 3 days passed in hush. Chandlers trimmed new candles for throne room. Stained glass windows were polished until the 7 seemed alive. Varys forbade any display of arms. Only tapestry depicting fields in spring hung behind the throne. He wore simple gray robe, belt of braided wool, No jewels. Qyburn fussed but yielded. Stannis arrived at dawn, wolves of mist trailing his oars. He disembarked wearing boiled leather jerkin, crown of red iron left upon ship. His 7 knights, Baratheon loyal, hard-eyed, spread beside.
No banners flew.
He marched through city streets silent but for hammer strikes of boots. Small folk watched, some spitting, some cheering old ghost of Robert. Stannis faced none. In the throne room Stannis halted before the dais. Sunlight pooled like molten gold upon floor between them. No guard stood by Varys. Stannis's gaze flickered to swords crowning the seat. "You bleed still?" he asked, noticing scars. "As does the realm," Varys answered. They spoke for hours. Council members waited beyond doors, straining ears. None heard words, only their echo, calm, low, unbroken. At times Stannis's fist clenched, at others Varys's shoulders sagged. When at last doors opened, the Iron Throne remained unclaimed. Varys on one knee upon marble, Stannis standing rigid, hand upon his head. Ladies gasped. Lords surged. Stannis raised voice. "I find no justice in breaking a city for pride. The eunuch speaks for small folk, and justice serves them first. I yield claim to throne, so long as false kings fall and laws serve truth again." Royce shouted protest. Tyrell paled. Tarly exhaled slow. Varys rose, blood seeping anew. "Then let us write laws together. A council elected by land and guild and faith. 1 seat for each of 7 kingdoms, plus 3 for commons. The crown shall speak last." Stannis nodded once. History tilted, yet not all bent with it. That night Loras Tyrell attempted to storm the keep with 100 Bloom's knights, seeking vengeance. Silent wings met them in corridors. Steel rang. Marble drank red. Loras reached base of Iron Throne before Ser Rabar disarmed him. Gauntlet closing around the white of a Kingsguard cloak once proud. In dim torchlight, Loras wept more than bled. Varys spared his life at cost. Highgarden must supply grain free to city 5 years. Hunger dulls grief, he told Tyrell envoy. In the Stepstones, Euron crowned himself Storm Kraken, claiming salt and stone and sky. Varys signed alliance with Braavos to fund fleet under Grafton. In return, Braavosi would receive 10% of all trade tolls, but slaves freed by Ironborn would sail to ports of their choosing. In Dorne, Princess Arianne replaced Quentyn at negotiation, bringing heated wine and wariness. She tested Varys with riddles of scorpion and dove. He answered with stories of gutter orphans turned knights by silent wings. She left him blood oranges, in Dorne a mark of tentative trust. Seasons churned. Bread remained cheap. Silk merchants seethed yet adapted, trading finery for coin in foreign ports. The faith militant patrolled alleyways at Varys's side. Though some swords drifted to fanatic zeal, it would need pruning. Tommen laughed again, chasing kittens. Brienne taught him wooden sword forms in dew-kissed courtyard. The boy asked once when mother would return. "When the realm stands tall enough to greet her," Varys said, heart sinking beneath each word. One frosted morning, ravens from Old Town brought parchment stamped with golden lion. Cersei Lannister had arrived disguised as Septa, seeking audience with High Septon. She demanded excommunication of the spider. The Septon sought guidance. Varys replied, "Grant it so long as she kneels. Pride would forbid. Let her own sword carve her downfall." The Septon obeyed. Cersei refused. Old Town confined her to Sept cells. Rumors spread like winter fog. Willis, Hand of the King, orchestrated First Council of 7 Kingdoms. Lords and commoners seated in Round Hall built atop ruins of Maegor's Tower. Varys opened session. No longer small folk gape from shadows while kings decide their fates. Today they sit here. A baker's daughter named Amare rose timidly and proposed a granary fund. A sellsword turned blacksmith argued for veterans' pensions. Proud lords listened, bemused. When votes tallied, Amarai's measure passed. Lords found themselves co-signing. Something shifted in oxygen, fragile yet bright. Darkness curled nonetheless. Qyburn warned of plague upriver. Tongues rotted by unknown blight. Varys dispatched healers. He wondered if Euron's tongues foretold contagion. He ordered sewers cleared, wells sealed. Small folk marveled. A king who swept shit. Months layered. Grass grew where gallows once loomed. The bells of kings rang not for death but for marketplaces opening. Yet rumors persisted. The spider used children as eyes, as knives. Some vanished. Varys could not deny. When a mother stormed the keep screaming that her little bird had been stolen, his heart wrenched. He found the boy within network, promised coin for secrets. He freed him, offered schooling instead. Others followed. The web loosened. Vox of silent knowledge thinned. But new birds flew. Apprentice scribes, lamplighters, shipmen older, consenting. Information demanded shape. He forged it kinder. Qyburn's ambition slithered. He proposed forging silent monsters to guard city. Reanimated giants, alchemical fire. Varys refused. Qyburn bowed, but spiders sensed threads quiver. He would watch. Stormland's harvest failed. Stannis rode forth with Royce to escort grain from Highguard. And Tyrell banners wavered but, bound by treaty, parted roads. The convoy reached Storm's End with bread unsullied. Small folk cheered spider banners beside Stag. Stories changed. One starlit eve, Varys visited dungeons where Cersei's former handmaids languished, accused of spying. He ordered their release, placed them into September schools. Mercy breeds loyalty, he reminded watchers. Yet the watchers themselves, shadowy figures once sworn to Baelish, plotted. An attempt on Tommen's life failed upon courtyard flags. Dagger deflected by Brienne's gauntlet. Assassin's dying breath named no master. Varys tasted Qyburn's alchemy on blade bitter copper. He confronted the maester beneath Red Keep laboratories. Glass jars lined walls, creatures suspended. Qyburn greeted him with smile. Men build kingdoms on corpses. I only study the bricks. You poison them, Varys whispered. You kill children by inches. Qyburn spread hands. Progress demands sacrifice. So did the sorcerer who cut me. I refuse. He stripped Qyburn of chain and title, banished him to Silent Sisters. The man departed laughing softly, as if secret victory waited. Winter's first snow-dusted King's Landing, rare and wondrous. Children tumbled in white, their laughter echoing against silent bells. Varys watched from balcony, cloak heavy upon new-healed shoulders. Willis rolled beside him, gloved hands chafing wheels against cold. You've given them seasons they never knew, Willis said. They will still curse you one moon, praise you next. Are you content? I'm alive, Varys said. And they are too. Content enough. Below, Tommen pelted Brienne with loose snow. She laughed, sound booming. The boy stumbled, righted by Ser Rabar. Cellar carts lined street, soup steam twirling into dusk. For a breath, the realm breathed with him. A raven croaked overhead. It's no different. North wind chill cut bone. Varys held out arm, parchment tied by silver ribbon. From the wall, dead things walk again. We need a realm united. He read twice. The Iron Throne's bite returned. Not steel but ice this time. He turned to Willis. Sound the bells of kings, he said. We must weave a web across the world. The bells would ring once more. This time not for coups or crowns, but for Dawn's war against endless night. And as their iron throats sang, Varys the Spider King promised himself the web would hold, or he would bleed every last drop of his hard-won humanity binding it together. Soft jade light shimmered through the terrace arches as the sun climbed above Blackwater Bay, casting King's Landing in the hush of a morning too delicate for horns or hammers. Varys stood at the sill of the Royal Solar, robe open at the throat to let the salt-cool breeze brush the scars beneath linen. He inhaled the tang of seaweed, tallow, wood smoke. The smells of lives stacked atop one another like crooked slates, and felt the web of the realm tighten with dawn. Below, the courtyard stirred gradually. A baker's boy rattling tin trays, silent wings adjusting greaves gone slick with dew. A litter of flea-bitten dogs looping around Brienne of Tarth as she guided Tommen through sunrise calisthenics. The boy leapt over imaginary cracks, wooden sword wagging. Laughter rose, clean, untroubled. Varus accepted the gift but pocketed it in memory. Joy in such times was a coin minted from glass. Behind him, Willis Tyrell leafed through a parchment dense with new decrees, adjustments to river tolls, a graft of Bravosi finance onto Stormland's granaries, an unprecedented clause granting orphan boys of kings landing apprenticeships in the royal stables. Willis's good hand trembled when he set the parchment aside. "You trust the stable masters more than the guild scribes," he said, voice steady despite the small quake in fingers. "Is it love for horses or distrust of quills?" "Quills lie to themselves," Varus replied without turning. "A horse tramples deception flat, though it may crush a few toes along the way. Besides, orphaned boys and skittish maras have kinship. Each knows the lash's speech." Willis wheeled closer, the chair's brass rims squeaking. "Someday you must sleep, your grace. Even spiders molt. After winter's teeth dull." Varus faced him, the hand spectacles, wrought with cunning springs to perch amid twisted ears, fogged with breath. Yet the eyes behind remained luminous. "Reports. Quentin Martell's cortege reached Bitterbridge at dawn. 300 spearmen. No banners raised above knee height. A show of humility or caution?" "Likely both," Varus said. "Humility has a shorter reach than caution's spear, but it cuts deeper when aimed." Willis plucked another parchment. "Euron Greyjoy holds Sisterton still. He taxes every ship, coin, cargo, or crew. Grafton's new fleet lingers at Greenstone waiting for Bravosi oarsmen. They complain of payment lost to storms." "Storms are ever convenient scapegoats for purse strings," Varus murmured. "Send a letter under my seal. Payment arrives within a fortnight, plus hazard bounty for each week they remain anchored. But instruct Grafton to billet sailors in the town, not aboard. The Ironborn favor night fires on moored hulls." Willis nodded, scribbling. A soft knock. Ser Rabar Royce stepped in, helm under arm, cloak feathers dripping river mist. He bowed. "Your Grace, Ser Stannis awaits you at the Black Cells." "Stannis?" Varus echoed, tasting the flint of the name. "Very well." He glanced at Willis. "Our hand has quills enough." "And patience enough," Willis replied. "Go." Varus followed Royce through narrowing corridors where lamps had burned all night, leaving sooty crescents on archways. Past the rookery's spiral stair hung a fresh tapestry. A great woven spider perched upon stylized map of Westeros, each leg brushed by threads colored like the Seven Kingslands. Some called it blasphemy, some art. Varus considered it reminder webs can snare the spinner quickest. They descended into damp gut of the keep, the air cooling to stone sweat.
Lamps flickert, Rat Kloss gräbt Unsehen.
At the Black Cell's entrance, a pair of silent sisters parted ranks. Stannis Baratheon emerged from the gloom beyond iron bars, lantern gilding his lean cheeks and the fine streaks of gray across thick beard. "Your Grace," Stannis acknowledged, voice as flat as steel on whetstone. "You outrank me in years, war, and stubbornness, Lord Stannis. Honor need not bend each time my new title sounds." Stannis's mouth twitched. Not quite a grin, more a fracture in granite. "Titles bend easier than spines, Spider King. Yet we carry them ward-like to keep our backs upright." Royce stepped discreetly away. Varys gestured down the passage. "A walk?" Cell's stifle thought. Stannis nodded. They paced between dripping walls, their reflections broken in puddles at their boots. "You've chosen the wall," Varys began. "Some would call that exile. I call it vantage. I call it duty," Stannis growled. "The Night's Watch starves. Its Lord Commander pleads for coin and men. My banners fed by your bread levy march north innocent night." He cut a look sideways. "I will not become castellan at frozen shore while Kraken feasts on southern trade. My men must know what they defend." "Then let them," Varys said. "Bravo sends galleys once the Sisterton business ends. Gold flows now, not wildfire. Your supply lines shall fatten." Stannis slowed. "Why trust me with half your treasury? Because you never steal. You only burn."
Veris exholet folk.
And if you burn the enemy beyond the wall first, small folk sleep easier. A grunt, assent. They reached an archway where sea breeze threaded through rusted bars. Below, dungeons yawed toward black water, tide lapping stones like tongues seeking salt. An envoy from the citadel delivered a stargazer's warning, Stannis said quietly. Red star winks again in east. Maesters whisper the long night's true herald nears. Some claim my blood, Baratheon black of hair, might quell fires yet unseen. You dabble in prophecy, spider? I dabble in probability, Varys said. If prophecy guides probability's hand, I will note which finger points north. He drew a small parchment from sleeve, an artist's rendering of skeletal figures marching beneath aurora green sky. This came from a wildling trader near Hardhome. Charcoal no doubt, but fear seldom lies. Stannis studied the sketch, brow nodding. Armies of bone, children's tales. Tales fed to children so they grow wary. Varys pocketed the sheet. I'd rather them wary than undead. Footsteps approached. Ser Davos Seaworth, cloak smelling of hemp and tar, eyes earnest as open sea. Beg pardon, sirs, he said, inclining to both though ranking only one. A ship flies black stag on gold Saladorsan. Claims urgent gift for his grace. Stannis's face eased a hair. Sala brings news faster than ravens when coin sparkles. Lead him to small hall. 2 goblets. No casks. He steals wine the way we steal sleep. He turned to Varys. Come taste salt with us? In time, Varys demurred. First I must pluck another thread. He bowed to both men, then receded into corridor, leaving steel resolve and seabreeze oaths in his wake. The Ravenry perched above the red keep like a crooked quill held by the sky itself. Varys ascended its spiral, heart beating a melody of urgency. At the apex, Maester Balabar, robes patched, hair pepper white, fed grain to a raven as dark as kettle tar. He glanced up. Your grace brings heavy storms, Balabar said, voice rough from rookery chill. Feathered messengers feel it. Wings beat restless. I fear heavier storms yet, Maester. Varys handed him a sealed roll. To Maester Aemon Castle Black. Use code Sigma Black. It spares confusion if seized. Balabar accepted, fingers brushing spider seal. The old man's eyes faded, but wisdom kept. Word is he counsels the new Lord Commander well. Then double the courier's feed, Varys smiled. Wisdom travels lighter on a full stomach. As Balabar prepared wax, Varys noticed a cage set apart. Inside, a raven white as bone preened. Its eyes pale, almost milk, tracked him with eerie calm. Snow feather, Balabar said, observing his curiosity. Gift from Lord Manderley. Rare breed. Some claim it senses whites. He chuckled softly, though fear quivered beneath. Old wives keep the best secrets. Varys touched the cage, cold iron numbing his finger. The bird croaked, deep, mournful. Varys withdrew. Send the letter on that one. Balabar hesitated. It may be slower. Such birds swim the air less vigorously. Nonetheless, Varys insisted. The maester bowed. Descending, Varys considered symbolic messages. A ghost-white raven bearing word of encroaching dead to a blind maester at world's end. Fitting, perhaps cruelly so. But symbolism harnessed could steer men quicker than armies. The mud gate markets thrummed by mid-morning. Peddlers hawking fry eel pies, Dornish spice dates, honey-glazed walnuts. Cloth merchants unrolling bolts of Tyoshi silk at double price due to fresh tax. Muttered curses followed each sale. Varys, in merchant's garb of ochre, mingled while mummers juggled. He paused at a stall where a scrawny youth painted sigils on river stones. Spider, stag, sun spear, kraken. Children swapped copper stars to hurl the stones at bronze shield propped against barrel. Each hit rang bright. Each misdrew jeers. The spider stone sold fastest. A toothless woman beside chortled. They favor your mark, majesty, though half still spit after. She did not bow. She recognized him through disguise, eyes sharp as fishhooks. Varys flipped her 2 silver stags. Copper for bread, silver for salt. Let them spit. Them still mouths with stew inside. She tucked coin into ragged bodice.
Spit keeps tongues wet.
Bread keeps bellies quiet. She gestured to narrow alley. But Kraken coin buys blades. Men recruited last night. Gulls bound for Sisterton. Shadows pooled in her gaze. Some too young to kiss whores, yet eager to kill. Wine clouds judgment. Coin set sail. Varys murmured. Thank you, my lady. I ain't lady. She cackled, turned away. At the shield game, a girl of 8 hefted a spider stone. Eyes narrowed under fringe. She hurled. Clang, direct center. Cheers erupted. Varys smiled, heart aching with impossible hope. He left by side gate, exchanging merchant cloak for plain wool, slipping into keep via scullery. Inside halls buzzed like hornet hive. Servants carrying laundry, scribes bent under ledger stacks, acolytes lighting cedar oil lamps for evening. He made his way to the quiet tower, former Maester Pycelle's domain now converted to an archive of petition scrolls. There, Amaray the baker's daughter sat at a trestle, reading complaint letters aloud to scribes who copied responses on treebark parchment, cheaper than vellum. "My lord," milking fees raised in stony September, Amaray read, voice wavering yet proud. "Calves starve before coin found." She looked up at Varys, eyes earnest. "Your grace, how may we answer?" "Promise a surveyor this fortnight," Varys said. "If the fee scales with lord's hunger, we trim the lord." He placed a sticky walnut on her desk, morning's purchase. She grinned, nibbling. He turned to scribes. "Any letter sealed in purple wax carries urgency. Hunger, sickness, orphans. Gold wax for trade, black wax for threat. Remember." They bowed heads. Hands at his back, Varys ascended again toward council chambers. On threshold, he encountered Lord Randall Tarly scowling at Willis Tyrell over a table layered in maps. Their voices cut through air like quarrels. "The Crownland's levy bleeds the reach," Tarly barked. "We supply grain under treaty, yet Ironborn torch our coasters. Shield Islands are undefended. Our fleet patrols Mander but cannot split like worms," Willis countered. "Perhaps your hunters at Horn Hill could lend bows?" "Baratheon men fill my forests," Tarly snapped. Varys glided between them. "Gentle lords, the forest hosts many beasts. Best we hunt together lest one eats us all." Tarly puffed, but silence held. Varys motioned to the map. "We reposition Shield Island's garrison under Royce's command, half from Reach, half from Vale. Unity fosters trust." He flitted a gaze to Willis. "As for grain, we escort shipments with mixed flagships. Baratheon Blackstag, Spider Silver, Tyrell Golden Rose. Raiders shall no 3 kingdoms answer." Willis scribbled quickly. Tarly grudgingly nodded. "I'll cull my archers," he rumbled. "See they fetch proper pay, not scrip IOUs." "Coin enough," Varys assured. The meeting turned logistical. Schedule of smithies forging new plowshares for Riverlands, reduction of Night's Watch prisoners' tithes, rotation of Faith militant escorts along Old King's Road. As lords debated syllables, Varys felt mind slip sideways, threads tugging from unseen corners. Qyburn's absence weighed heavier than expected. His smile might surface where least predicted. Varys resolved to send watchers to the Silent Sisters' enclave. Twilight draped the red keep in amethyst gloom. Sweet smoke from her braziers drifted through throne room where lanterns spawned trembling halos. Varys stepped onto dais. Steel throne sword tips winked with lambent glow. Tommen perched on stool at hall's edge, kitten curled in lap. Brienne stood vigil. When the boy saluted with wooden blade, Varys returned nod. Doors opened. Quentyn Martell entered flanked by 2 Sunspear spearmen, orange cloaks trimmed in copper. He removed helm, curls damp with road dust, yet his gaze held desert sunrise warmth. "You traveled swift," Varys said, voice echoing. "Swifter than ravens," Quentyn replied, kneeling. "Dorn comes where justice rumors bloom." Varys descended steps, offered hand. Rise, tell me of the rumor. I prune false shoots. Quentyn rose, eyes level. Word says you'll free each fosterling held hostage at court to cement peace. A subtle tension coiled behind calm. My cousin Arianne demands her page boy, actually her spy, returned. Peace holds no hostages, Varys answered. The boy is free this moment, apprenticed at print shop on Street of Looms. She may reclaim him. He saw surprise flicker. A silent victory. Quentyn produced a leather scroll case. In return, Dorne grants port rights at Planky Town, tariffs halved for grain bound north. We ask only this. No crown may conscript Dornish levies without prince's seal. Varys accepted the case. Agreed. I conscript no one. I request. He gestured toward long oaken bench. We shall dine on honey-roasted duck, though I fear our honeybees protest winter chill. Quentyn smiled, tension slaking. Desert tongues welcome any sweetness. As they spoke of trade winds and orchard grafting, thunder rumbled beyond windows. Distant storm creeping from east. Varys shivered. Storms, sorcerer's breath, dead men walking. Patterns overlapped like tide lines. After feast, he retired to Solar where Willis waited amid flickering candelabra. Parchment thick with fresh ink. Letters from Bravos confirm credit lines, the hand said, voice hoarse from long hours. Also, disturbing missive. He passed a sealed scrap bearing stylized kraken drawn in human blood. Varys opened. Within 3 words scrawled in script both jagged and flowing, as though Quill fought hand. Isle of faces. Below, a crude drawing. Spider strung to tree by its own silk, flames licking. What game now? Willis murmured. None, Varys said. A riddle and a threat. He traced ink with thumb. Euron reaches for the heart of old gods. He met Willis's gaze. We must move faster. They drafted dispatches through small hours. Summon Ser Brynden Tully from Riverrun to reinforce Blackwater. Instruct Grafton to sail 3 fastest longships around Cape Wrath toward Isle of Faces under Silent Cloak. Urge Maester Balon at Harrenhal to send ravens if thrum of drums echoes across Green Fork. At cockcrow, Varys dismissed Willis to sleep, though he doubted the man would. He stretched aching back, robe heavy with candle wax smell. He crossed balcony to breathe. Frost silvered balustrade. Far below, torches bobbed along street of sisters, silent wings patrolling. He listened, lace of wind, hush of bay, faint ringing of hammer on anvil from smithy burning late. Peace fragile as spider silk. Then a scream. It came from inside. High, short, stifled. Varys whirled, heart vaulting. He raced across corridor towards Tommen's chamber. Brienne already thundered upstairs, sword half drawn. They collided, but she barely slowed, Varys keeping pace behind. The chamber door ripped open. Candle overturned cast shadows writhing against wall. Kitten hissed from bedpost. On the rug knelt a veiled sister, her habit torn, throat blooming red. She clutched small purse, blood-soaking white linen. Brienne strode forward, blade to chest of cowled intruder still crouched near window. Hold! Varys barked. The intruder froze. In glint of moonlight, silver chain at neck betrayed silent sister's rank. Brienne yanked veil away, revealed Qyburn's sharp grin, powdered white, eyes ecstatic. Alas, Qyburn crooned, faithful orders seldom appreciate my scholarship. Where is Tommen? Varys demanded, scanning. The boy shivered beneath bed, clutching kitten. Safe for now, Qyburn said. Brienne hauled him upright. He offered no resistance, only sighed. I sought demonstration of your new order's weakness, as well as retrieving certain reagent. He jingled purse. Glass vials clinked. The wounded sister gasped. Varys knelt, hand to wound. Slit deep but not mortal yet. He tore linen to stanch. Summon Maester, he shouted. A guard bolted. Qyburn's eyes gleamed. My leeches would seal faster.
Yo.
You are leeches suck souls, Varys hissed. Brienne pressed blade to Qyburn's ribs. Why? She growled. My king denies knowledge its birthright, Qyburn said serenely. So I gift him fear, without which knowledge is wasted. He glanced at Varys. Every dream curdles when touched by blood. Varys rose, meeting gaze. You dream of a realm beyond pain. I dream of realm beyond fear. Tonight we bleed both. He signaled guards. Take him to black cells. No voice, no light. As Qyburn was dragged out, laughter echoed, thin, childlike, haunting. Brienne tended Tommen, whispering comfort. Varys held Boy's trembling shoulders. Safe, he murmured, yet each syllable felt fragile. Dawn's gray seep found Varys still awake in Tower of the Hand, scrawling edicts. Silent wings doubled, faith militant quartered to rookery watch. Qyburn stripped of name and tongue if he spoke. Exhaustion bit, but he wrote on each letter a stitch over unraveling seam. A knock. Ser Rabar entered, helm under arm, eyes storm-dark. Your Grace, a ship from Old Town. High Septon aboard, unannounced. Varys folded letter. Send guide to Inner Harbor. Prepare Octagon Hall for audience. Soon the High Septon tottered into Octagon, a round chamber draped in blue silk. His crystal crown chimed. Behind him strode two massive warriors' sons, helms wrought like starbursts. Your Grace, the Septon said, voice frail yet carrying steel. I come bearing a grave confession. Varys gestured to cushion. The man Saturday speak. The Septon clasped ringed fingers. Cersei Lannister escaped the September at Old Town. Sisters drugged, warriors slain. A Selsail ship sighted bearing red sails trimmed gold. A Lannister privateer. Destination unknown. Perhaps Dragonstone. Perhaps Lys. Varys closed eyes. A weight settled upon chest. And you came alone? With prayer and offer. The faith will champion your cause openly if you restore tithes suspended, grant temple districts in King's Landing tax exempt, and place tomes of esoteric lore found in Grand Maester's vault under our guardianship. Esoteric lore? Varys echoed. Texts of blood magic, shadows, necromancy, dangerous temptations. Varys studied the man. Wrinkles nestling secrets, lips trembling with piety or greed. He considered Qyburn's laughter. Those tomes I will consign to flames, not altars. The Septon's lips tightened. Blasphemy. Salvation, Varys corrected. As for tithes, bread first, bells later. The faith may feed the hungry or feed upon them. Choose. He rose. I shall not bargain away children's bellies for hymns. The Septon stood as well, crystalline crown shimmering like frost. Then the seven shall judge. Good day, Spider King. He departed, star-helmed guards bristling. Rabar approached. That crown will tilt to whichever wind fattens collection plates. Indeed, Varys sighed, and Cersei rides that wind. He looked southward through window, beyond the city, past Blackwater, to seas that birthed krakens and vengeances. Prepare Raven to every harbor, unmarked vessel with crimson sails. Watch, report, hold if brave. Consider it done. Winter's first full moon rose fat and golden, yet Varys felt only chill. He stood upon the parapet off Queen's Tower, cloak flapping like banners of retreat. Below, lanterns along Rivergate flicked as war galleys prepared departure. Stannis' host marched east of city, ant-like trail of torches along Rose Road, bound for King's Road then north. Songs drifted, drums, horns, hoarse chants of justice. Varys prayed they would find it amid snow, not wraith. Beside him Willis Tyrell braced elbows on stone, breath pluming. I envy them, he admitted. The road offers purpose. Wheels under me yearn to turn beyond courtyard gravel. Your wheels turn here, Varys said kindly, guided by quill rather than hoof. The realm thanks them equally. Willis chuckled, a soft sound. Even so, he grew solemn. News from Bravos. Iron Bank demands collateral before extending second tranche. They cite elevated risk. He lifted brow. Perhaps rumored whites spook them. Or Lannister gold, Varys mused. We shall present collateral they cannot refuse. the grain route charter. If the dead walk, the living still eat. Food is currency. Willis nodded, eyes bright. Lightning flickered to southeast. Thunder followed like distant drum. Varys watched clouds bruising horizon. Storms herald, he whispered. I feel it. Willis adjusted cloak. You foresee unending storms. A spider must. He turned, clasping Han's shoulder. Tomorrow dispatch envoy to Riverland's villages along Trident. Stockpiles for refugees. The dead feed on the living. We will starve them. Willis dipped chin. Randall will protest lost stores. He may chew his protest while others chew bread. Varys's gaze drifted skyward. We weave a humble tapestry. Willis. Threads of toil, peace, hope. Yet one cut in wrong place. He pinched air. And it unraveled. Willis's grip tightened on rim. Then we weave stronger. Weeks passed in iron-shod sequence. Carts laden with barley, oats, and pulses rolled north under stag and spider banners. Lords along route grumbled but parted gates. Silent wings multiplied, recruiting second sons who wore vow like new skin. Brienne drilled them in shield wall. Rabar Royce taught hammer counters. The city's sick houses received fresh rushes, boil salves, and maester novices trained in Essos plague wards. Snow fell twice then melted. Children sculpted lumpy spiders and crowned them with twigs. Yet rumors slithered. Merchants whispered that Cersei courted Sellsword companies in Myr. Euron Greyjoy scoured stepstones for ancient horns said to summon sea dragons. Qyburn, despite solitary confinement, conversed with rats and ravens through cell bars, promising secrets for scraps. One chill dawn, ravens from the wall arrived. White harbor wolves sighted silhouettes beyond haunted forest, taller than men, eyes blue as frozen moon. Lord Commander requested dragonglass, skilled archers, and, if rumor true, wildfire to burn corpses. Varys convened emergency council. Lords argued dragonglass scarce. Qyburn claimed he knew alchemy to mimic its properties. Varys refused. Instead, he sent order to Dragonstone mines to unearth every obsidian shard, pay miners thrice wage. Meanwhile, a message reached Grafton Fleet. Sisterton overrun by Kraken. Greyjoy banner burned, but the town's children spared. Euron left them alive to tell of Storm King rising. He sailed west. Grafton's admiral described abandoned islands strewn with wooden effigies shaped like spiders, claws dipped in pitch and set aflame. A taunt, perhaps omen. That night, Varys sat in war room alone, studying map pocked with glass marbles marking armies. He moved one Kraken to a new spot near Shield Islands. He placed blue glass drop north of Eastwatch. His fingers trembled. He whispered to no one, "Too many storms at once." Thunder cracked. Doors burst. Brienne entered, helm under arm. "Your Grace, rider at gate of the gods. Claims camouflaged army camps 2 leagues south. Lannister colors." Varys stiffened. Lannisters muster in secret? 10 banners at least, led by Ser Damian Lannister, Cersei's cousin. Willis arrived, chair wheels squealing. "If they march upon us. Or bypass to join Euron," Varys murmured. He rose. "Summon Royce. Ready city watch. Send Raven to Stannis. If his rear threatened, we divert grain to swords." He paced. "I must meet Ser Damian myself." "Trap," Brienne warned. Then spider meets trap with web spun. He donned wool mantle embroidered small triple knot patterns, humble, mobile. At gatehouse torches lit swirling snow. Rider waited astride chestnut mare, golden lion sigil on silver breastplate. He bowed when Varys approached, though disdain flared beneath courtesy. "Your Grace," Damian greeted. "I bring terms from Queen Cersei. Queen in exile bears no authority." "Authority rides on spear points behind me," Damian retorted. 800 knights, 2,000 foot. Half of them Sellswords eager to receive Lion's gold. They encamp beyond rainy fields. At dawn we enter city to remove impostor. Varys clasped hands. "You risk bloodshed of thousands once more. We risk saving throne from eunuch's blasphemy." Damian's breath steamed. but merciful hearts remain. Bend knee to Queen Circe's regency. Rule as hand under her. Tommen kept, bread cheap, no child harmed. Refuse, and wildfire you disarmed shall ignite anew. Varus studied him. Wildfire stored in subterranean vaults long under royal guard. None know codes but me. Damian smiled coldly. None you think, perhaps. Queen's alchemist still lives. He tugged reins. Dawn's shadow tells answer. He turned, galloped into night. Snow swallowed hoofbeats. Brienne's jaw clenched. We cannot repel wildfire with shields, nor bend knee to madness, Varus murmured. We need counsel. He sent runners for Willis, Tarly, Royce. They gathered under flickering torches, breath white plumes. Tarly slammed fist on parapet. I'll carve lions until none roar. Wildfire unseen may slay more than swords, Willis countered. Royce considered. We could lure Damian's host across the Blackwater. Use river tide and torch. Children, Varus said softly, stopping argument. City brims with them asleep. We must shield first strike, then decide. He ordered evacuation of riverfront wards into Holdfast. Silent wings replaced by Faith militant for riot control. Water-bearers filling cisterns on ramparts. He dispatched ravens to Stannis. Harassment force needed south. He instructed alchemists loyal to Crown to flood sewers under Outer Market with seawater, dousing any caches. Through night, preparations hummed. Snow thickened, muffling chaos. Varus moved among workers, offering words, stilling trembling hands. At dawn, gray veil parted revealing Damian's host on ridgeline. Banners limp in calm. Trumpets sounded. City gates creaked closed. Archers lined walls. Damian rode forward with banner party. He called aloud, Eunuch King, display surrendered throne. Open gates and keep peace. Varus atop battlement raised voice amplified by copper horn. Your queen escapes justice, not judgment. Return to Casterly Rock. Feed people she abandoned. Laughter among lions. Catapults rolled forth. Flaming pots launched, trailing green tongues, wildfire indeed. They splashed upon outer moat where water contested flame. Steam hissed monstrous. One pot struck gatehouse roof. Ignited, timbers roared emerald. Archers fired. Arrows clattered harmless on shields. Siege had begun. Yet behind lions, another sound. Horns deeper, drumming like ocean waves. Damian twisted in saddle. Over crest poured cavalry bearing antler stag and spider sigils. Stannis' vanguard, Ser Davos, Ser Steward of Windwater, Knight Stout. Grain wagons abandoned earlier now carried armored men. They charged flanking side. Lions turned, chaos blossomed. Damian shouted orders. Varus watched as Spider-Stag pincer collided with lions. Snow churned crimson. Wildfire catapults whirled to redirect, but artillery crews cut down by arrows from hidden ditches where Varus had stationed Vale bowmen overnight. Flames splashed onto lion ranks, incinerating gold cloaks. Damian rallied to fall back, yet horns from east. Royce's bronze gates contingent arriving by sewer tunnels gating outside. Heavy infantry crashed into retreating lions. Encircled, Damian fought, but momentum lost. Battle lasted hours. City walls shuddered with echoes. At sunset, silence descended. Field beyond gate littered with burnt corpses, broken shields. Stannis strode through smoke toward Varus at gate. Told you your dragons were green, he growled, wiping soot. You owe me casks of wine, and the realm owes you breath. Varus returned, weary smile. He scanned field, Damian's standard fallen, yet survivors corralled under silent wings. Inside keep, Willis directed healers to triage. Tarly personally carried wounded children found in outer wards. Brienne oversaw prisoners, her sword never blotched with cruelty. That night, council convened as winter wind howled. Varus, soot-streaked, addressed them. We survived Lion's fury, but Queen still plots. Kraken still stirs. Dead still march. Web holds yet strains. We cannot fight each strand alone. Tomorrow we send heralds to every seat. Invite lords, small folk, faith sells words, to witness assembly of the realm in King's Landing. From there we choose banner not of one house but of all. Royce raised brow. Parley of the realm? Parliament, Willis breathed, eyes shining. Tarley scoffed yet said, if you hand farmers vote, they'll tax lords thrice. And lords may barter bread to keep heads. Varys replied softly. The choice remains. They debated deep into witching hour, forging charter outlines. Seats by population and grain, yearly levy votes, faith presence moderated, monarchy as guiding voice not iron fist. Skepticism clung, but possibilities too. When they dispersed, Varys lingered alone in throne room, candles guttering low. He walked among shadows cast by swords, letting fingertips brush pitted steel, reminded of edges that cut indiscriminately. He reached dais, but did not sit. Instead, he kneeled on chill marble, forehead against blades cold. He whispered to darkness, boy I once was, tremble not. Each cut we bear spares thousands. Yet each spared soul we lose not to fear but to hope. He felt tears, warm rivulets seeping. Then footsteps, soft, hesitant. Tommen approached, kitten cradled. Your Grace, the boy murmured. Varys rose slowly. Couldn't sleep. Terrors, Tommen admitted. Fires and screams. But Ser Pounce says nightmares end. Varys knelt, rubbing kitten's ear. Ser Pounce is wise. Nightmares end when day arrives, and when good hearts guard dreams. He pressed a jet spider brooch, tiny and smooth, into Tommen's palm. This webs fear away. Keep it close. Tommen smiled small. Will mother come when day arrives? Varys's throat constricted. He answered with all gentleness he could forge. Day will show who truly stands beside you. When it comes, you will stand strong enough to greet anyone. Tommen nodded, trusting. He hugged Varys briefly, child's warmth seeping into chilled heart, then patted out with kitten. Alone again, Varys exhaled trembling breath. Dawn glimmered faint behind stained glass, bleeding gold across throne's edges. He stepped toward window, watching first rays. The web, vast and fragile, shimmered across horizon. Storms still brewed. Kraken horns, Queen's wrath, dead men's march. But every thread now gleamed with new-spun filament. Resolve of lords who bled together, of small folk who voted bread measures, of children who dreamed despite screams. Spider King, some whispered, others, loyal eunuch, others yet, heretic usurper. Varys cared less each day. He was weaver, and weaving never finishes, it only moves loom to next length. He spoke to rising sun, voice low, steady. We begin again. Outside, bells ready to chime dawn duty. In far north, a raven white as snow beat wings through gray skies, carrying word to a blind maester and an army waiting behind icy wall. Croaked once, a sound like hope cracking ice, and somewhere in black waves off broken arm, a lone ship carved spray, crimson sails aflame with morning's red. On deck stood a queen with lion's heart and wildfire eyes, crownless but burning. And beyond her, deeper still, the sea breathed secrets older than kings, each wave a drum, each drumbeat chanting the name of a spider who dared to dream.